you everyone for being here today. And a special thanks for many of you that have traveled from far away. It means so much to me and to Mike's family. We truly appreciate you being a part of Mike's celebration of life. Look around. We are all here because of love. And as you know, that's what Mike was all about. Mike was always about the love. I'm Kathy Martinek. I'm Mike's sister. My brother Mike always had a great way with words, and sometimes carry on. Oh, you know him. Yeah, I promise you, this trait does not run in our family. Okay? So I will keep this kind of short, but very sweet.
Apparently Mike didn't like that. Come on, sis.
Maybe the tent will fall down. We're not doing
I'm sorry.
The wind is not your fault.
Oh,
It's all right. It's okay. Let it go. Let it go.
okay. If it falls down.
All right. So I'm going to keep this kind of short, but very sweet. I'm not here to tell you how amazing and kind and wonderful and helpful and funny and spiritual and generous and compassionate that my brother was. Because you know what? All of you already know that, especially if he touched your life in any way. Some of you have been lucky enough to have known him back to our childhood days. Our parents, Mike and Mary, had 5 children, Mike being the oldest, then Clay, Julie, myself, and Sarah. And as a family, we made many wonderful memories together. And our parents made sure that we had a proper Catholic education starting at 1st grade. Mike was in the last graduating class at Fort Huron Catholic High School. The rest of us finished high school at Fort Huron Northern. Summertime was always a fun time around our house. We were blessed to have grown up in the neighborhood of Sherman Woods, where we all learned how to play tennis and street hockey, ride our bikes along the magic sidewalk, and swim at the beach there. Hockey, for Mike and Clay, was a big part of their lives. They attended hockey camps and played in the local Silver Stick tournaments for many years. It was also a big part of life, even for us girls, because we were lucky enough to have Mom take us to every game and sit in the freezing cold and chlorine arena to watch them play. Those were some fun memories. Chilly, but fun memories. Later, we moved to our house up on Gratiot, and talk about being blessed. Living life on the lake was an amazing gift. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I know they're here today also. As you can imagine, Mike was quite the social guy growing up. Always making new friends, and boy, did he throw a party. Yeah, you know him well, don't you? So many times the basement was full of high school guys and gals, and of course, our parents just never seemed to be home for any of these. And somehow, they never found out about those parties. Mike must have had a great cleanup crew. You know what I'm talking about, Tim. I see you out there. You were there. Yes, some of you here today remember those parties. And one of the best things that our dad did for us growing up was get a boat. A green and light 25-foot Chris Craft sea skiff. She was a beauty and named the M&M. It stands for Mary and Mike. Some of you here today remember that boat well and probably learned how to ski behind it as well as we all did. There's a great picture of it inside. I remember sitting in the back of the boat watching Mike water ski and being so proud of him as he jumped away back and forth, making the spray bigger each time he cut into a wave. He would do this for miles on his slalom ski until he ended his ride by being thrown onto the shore and then stepping out of his ski as he hit the beach running across the sand. It was perfection. But as you know, Mike was, well, almost perfect at everything he did throughout his life. As adults and for several years, just the 5 Chargot kids would take an annual trip to Las Vegas. I will never forget the fun that we had staying up all night, seeing the lights, gambling, going to shows, and then relaxing at the pool all day. Those were some of the best times we ever spent together, ever. The 5 Chargot kids making memories in Las Vegas. But that's all I can tell you. Because we all took a vow. And as you know, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. We can talk later. Come on, I can tell you that. Throughout our lives, Mike and I always had this thing. When it came to introducing ourselves to others when we were together. And in our small town, this seemed to happen a lot. He would introduce me and say, "This is my baby sister Kathy," and I would say, "Yes, and this is my much older brother." It always got us a lot of laughs, and it made the two of us laugh. For as long as I can remember, when anyone asked Mike, "How are you today?" he would always respond, "It's the best day of my life." Even though it may not have really been the best day of his life, he still said it with a smile. I can still see that smile as he said those words. One thing for sure is that wherever Mike went, he had a smile, a scratch-off lottery ticket to give you, and sunshine always followed Mike wherever he went. Mike and I had so many great conversations and fun. We supported each other through good times and bad times throughout our lives. He was my rock, and I knew that I could always count on him. And he knew that he could always count on me, no matter what the situation was. After I retired, he knew that I wanted to invest in an exceptional e-bike. So he took time from his busy schedule, and we spent the day together, and yes, we found the perfect one. We had so much fun, literally, putting hundreds of miles on our e-bikes while I was down in Florida over the past few years. My husband was with us. Being an avid biker himself, he understood how much I love my bike. I think of him every time that I ride it. Then there was this time in 2024 when Christy encouraged us to sign up for the U.S. Open Pickleball Championship in Naples, Florida. Yes, this was a really big deal. We both agreed and said, "Hey, this is the year to do this, because who knows what will happen next year." And surprisingly, we were selected from the lottery draw to play mixed doubles in this prestigious event. I guess God knew what was going to happen in 2025. We did not. I stayed with Mike in Florida for over 2 weeks to get ready for this tournament. Together we trained, and we had great friends that competed against us.
Well, there goes.
Be our best. Mike, I'm sorry I missed that point, you know? Gracious. You missed as many as I did.
You're doing great.
Perfect.
Not that we didn't work out and so on, but we did 2 weeks of really heavy-duty training down there. And we had great friends that competed against us and helped us to be our best. Every day was walking and biking and weight training and eating right. I was on vacation. Who eats right when they're on vacation? Then, the big day arrived. Christy, Michelle, and Rob were there to cheer us on and to drag our big cooler around for us. We played hard, won a lot of matches, and we had the time of our lives. 95 degrees, full sun, 6 hours pickleball matches. Yes,
Just let it go.
a great day for both of us. Yes, being competitive and a little bit crazy, well, that does run in our family. But the best part of being in this tournament was making this commitment with Mike to be our athletic best. And I must say, it was easier for him than me. It was a bonding experience like no other. I loved him even more after this experience, if that is even possible. But that's not all that we did. We took the time to share stories, to laugh, to cry, and to learn more about each other. Together we learned how to buy Powerball tickets. I know it sounds silly, but the first time we bought them, we had to ask somebody how to do it. Who's done that before? Huh? Yeah, exactly. Good. We didn't win anything, but that wasn't the point. The point was learning something new together and having fun. What I also learned was that I had the absolute best brother ever. I am beyond blessed to have had him in my life. Yes, 2024 was a very special year. It was in March of 2024 in Florida that I introduced Mike to my friend Jane. Sparks flew from the moment we two looked at each other. True happiness was all around. Mike could now say with never hesitation that this was the best day of his life after Jane. After lost their spouses in 2023. Actually, within 10 days of each other, Mike and Jane discovered that love can find a second chance. Mike's last year was a year filled with new beginnings, new love, and new adventures. I could hear the happiness in his voice every time that I spoke with him. Mike and Jane had so much in common. They were both athletic and very active. They enjoyed many bike rides, walking the beach, swimming, talking, laughing, and having great adventures together. They made lots of future plans together, but sadly, their time together was cut too short. At last year's annual Shargot family reunion, all the Shargot kids, their kids, grandkids, and cousins were there in celebration, and so were Mike and Jane. It was a perfect day. I guess God knew that this would be our last family reunion with Mike there. We did not. I sure hope that there are pickleball courts and bike trails in heaven. And if not, Mike will make sure that there are by the time I get there, so that we can once again do what we love doing best together. Until we meet again, my much older brother, I love you. And he's here somewhere. He's in our hearts forever. So, and now I'd like to introduce his daughter, Christy.
Kill it, Chris. No, just let it go. Then people are distracted by it.
I think Kathy did such a good job, so thank you so much. Thank you for coming today and honoring my dad. I'm honestly not sure I can put into words how wonderful he really was. He had a heart of gold. We were all really truly blessed to have a man like him on this earth. I didn't realize how genuinely blessed I was until I got older. To have a dad that worked to make your life better and would die for you is something that's irreplaceable. Of course, he was always there for all the fun times and sport times, like when we were younger, winning state tennis championships in high school, the college tennis and water ski days. Dad was very involved in our lives, as was my mom. My mom introduced us to pickleball that brought so much fun into our lives. Dad was very athletic and talented at pretty much everything. He was always very focused and he made good decisions. Mom was the right-hand lady that made it all possible for my dad, sister, and myself. Every real accomplishment in life involves a team. My parents made such a positive influence in my life. I guess the real test in life is to go through something challenging and not give up. I'm just going to use this as an example of how Dad helped me. I was bit by a spider on my leg, and after 2 surgeries, I had 2 guns to my heart. To say I was in the battle for my life was an understatement. For many years, I was doing all I could to get out of the situation. It's been over 8 years now, and just a long lesson I'm right now. But I learned some of the most important things in my life at such a young age because of this and what I have seen my parents and my sister go through. Number 1, life is a gift and a blessing. It doesn't matter your age. I never left family without saying I love you. Number 2, health is wealth. Number 3, real family and friends that care about your heart really matter. Number 4, material things are not nearly as important as you think. Number 5, educate yourself by reading the Bible. This is the most important one. My dad never gave up on me. He never gave up on anyone he loved. Our family was a team, and Rob has been such an added blessing that we are forever truly thankful for. There are not a lot of people in life that can go through extremely challenging times, make it out, and maybe come out better than ever, maybe even on top. I learned that from my dad. And that toughness and dedication in life is very, very rare. He was a master at it. That loyalty and love is what I miss so much from both my parents. My dad's biggest message at my mom's celebration of life is forever, and he was talking about eternity. Your character here on earth aligns with what will happen to you. How you treat people, are you kind? God is a forgiving God that gives grace for mistakes, but he looks at your heart's intentions and whether they are good or bad. He always said, stick up for what was right and aligning with God's truth. Dad, you were such a good example with your character and morals. Looking back on the memories with Dad, there's just so many good ones here in Michigan and also in Florida. He was funny and kind, he had a big heart, and he loved to see you succeed. He would always say, I love to see people succeed because then we all succeed. I truly admired him, and I wish every day that I could still call or see him. Looking at the water here in town reminds me of so many good memories being on a boat, jet skiing and water skiing with him, playing tennis as a kid here in Michigan, and pickleball in Florida. It was always fun because we shared so many same hobbies and likes in life. Seeing all the memories, driving past the cleaners, the car wash that no longer exists, driving past the house my sister and I grew up in, it seems like I still should have walked in and said, hi, Mom and Dad, I'm home. I could go on from seeing my Grandma Mimi's house, the car dealership Kaywood's, Aunt Barb and Uncle Denny's stores, all the memories, friends' homes, feels like yesterday. I think the biggest thing I learned from my dad is to live with no regrets and just give your best. Tell the people you're close with that you love them because tomorrow's not guaranteed or promised. I think people that have gone through major loss understand this. Dad, I genuinely miss you every single day. You were my best friend. I'll do my best to move on and be happy, but I miss you so much, and Mom. Dad, you were a Christian leader in our family, and without a doubt, the person that loved Michelle and I the most on earth, and then Mom, also Rob. I can't thank you enough for being such a really good dad in person, always trying to point me and others in a healthy, good direction, protecting me and giving your best. God bless your soul, Dad. I'm still praying for you every single day, and I hope I get to see you again. Sending you the biggest hug to heaven. You are loved and always will be, and will never be forgotten. I know God said to you, Dad, well done, my faithful servant. I will always love you very much, Dad. You are one of the biggest blessings in my life.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. It's a butterfly. This is the good one. I'm just taking it all in. There's a lot of love in this room. It's hard to believe that we were here just 2 years ago celebrating Judy's life, and your presence here means everything. I know he'd be smiling at this, be a really big deal to him. His only concern would be the cost of everything. How much? You know, we got to town and it was raining and a lot cooler, but today is a little different for me. It's a little, he made that happen. He loved the sunshine, he loved the water. So we're here today to honor, oh, that's a sign, that's good, that's a sign. There we go, that happened with Judy too. I love that. Sorry, I gotta take it in. I love these things. It's what's special about this spot. So we're here today to honor and celebrate the extraordinary life of a man who wasn't just my father-in-law, he was my hero. He was my best friend, he was my idol. Honestly, I think Jesus had him on the payroll as an apprentice. Mike Shargott wasn't just a great man, he was the man. That's what this is. He was Superman in a neon yellow sleeveless shirt, a forever tan, and a walking sermon in Asics. The only guy I've ever known who made everyone he encountered feel special. He walked this earth with purpose, generosity, and a smile that made you believe there was hope when it seemed there was none. He had no enemies, no regrets, and no quit. He was all heart all the time. So I've lost people in my life before, but with Mike it hit different. Maybe it's because it was so sudden. Maybe because he was so vibrant, so full of life, riding 30 miles a day, showing up for everyone. You know, we checked his Apple Watch afterwards, and we found that he had a VO2 max of 33, which is your fitness level, and it's in the top 5% for his age group. It's like world-class athlete level. He gave me something I never had. He was a true father figure to me. Steady, kind, full of grace and laughter, and always, always in my corner. You know, when I think more deeply about Mike in the last 5 months since he passed, I realized something profound. Every minute of his life, every single minute, Mike was making a difference in someone else's. He was always contributing, always giving, always serving. And even when it didn't look like service, he was. If he paid someone to clean the pool, clean his roof, work on his house, he wasn't just getting a task done, he was pouring into that person. He made them feel special, respected, cared for. They left his space better than when they arrived because he served them just as much as they were serving him. That was his way. He elevated everyone in his path. Everyone who entered his space left lighter, stronger, and more human than when they arrived. There are thousands of lives he touched who may never know his name, but they were touched all the same because everyone mattered to Mike, everyone. No one was beneath him. No one was invisible. He had a way of making the smallest interactions feel sacred. Mike wasn't just a man of faith. He was what it looks like to walk in faith, to be an apprentice of Jesus, not in name, but in action. And I'll be honest, before becoming a part of this family, I didn't understand what that meant. But I learned. I watched Mike. I remember my first visit with the family to Port Huron. It was freezing. I mean, cold like I'd never been in my life. Everyone here said it wasn't that bad. It was 9, and they said it's not that bad. We had to go to CVS across Pine Grove to get some medicine. I'm just trying to survive this Arctic blast because my head freezes in that. And Mike, he's in CVS, talking to the cashier like they're old high school buddies. Full-on conversation, laughing, catching up like it was a family reunion. I asked Mike who that was when we left. Mike didn't know. That was Mike. He made everyone feel like they mattered, even in CVS in sub-zero temperatures. One of the things I admired most about Mike was his incredible love for his daughters. He was their biggest fan, their fiercest protector, and their lifelong champion. He was so proud, so deeply, genuinely proud of who Michelle and Christy are. Our last dinner with Mike was just a few nights before he passed. Michelle had to deliver a talk for work, and she asked her dad to be the mock audience. So he had to be a surgeon for the night, and he loved it. He sat there soaking it all in like it was a State of the Union address. Michelle, of course, was using words that we would need Google for, straight out of a neuroscience textbook. And Mike, he listened with such intense focus. Asking questions, he was raising his hand, he was engaged, he was so proud. You could tell he wasn't just listening, he was in awe of her. He would look at her like she was a superhero, because to him, she is. His little chopper. And Christy, Cheeseball, he adored her. He never missed a chance to brag about her. And of course, her pickleball talent. If you ever got caught up in a conversation with Christy and him about her game, buckle up, because the guy's coming in hot. He's got her stats, how she owns the kitchen without ever stepping in it. He's giving her praise. He's got that grin from ear to ear. Not the cooking kitchen. Christy doesn't know that part. The kitchen, the other kitchen, the pickleball kitchen. That was who he was for everybody. My sisters, my kids, Ted, the K-Wood team, just a champion for them all. The gymnast, Megan, Amanda, Jackie, the whole team at Troy, a champion for everyone. He lived as if every person he met was a child of God worthy of love, dignity, and attention. And he met them all with the same grace, the same curiosity, the same deep, undeniable care. That was Mike. Through him, I learned something deeper about what love looks like, what service looks like in practice, what it means to leave people better than you found them. That's the life he lived. That's the legacy he leaves. When Mike was diagnosed with liposarcoma, which is a slow-growing, treatable form of cancer, we started to make these regular trips up to Jacksonville for surgery and for follow-ups. Technically, it's a 6-hour drive from Naples to Jacksonville, unless a Shargat is driving, then it might be more like 4 hours. And I was driving on those trips. They weren't joyless. We were going up for serious stuff, but somehow every trip turned into an adventure. We'd take the back roads through North Florida, and Michelle would be in the back seat with her AirPod Maxes on a deep into a TikTok rabbit hole, while Mike and I sit up front, just talking about everything. We never ran out of things to say. 6 hours would disappear in a flash as we solved every major business, life, and global issue right from the front seat. Michelle would always find these great beach houses in Jacksonville, and I'd take over the kitchen. I like to cook. Mike was my dream dinner guest. He loved whatever I made. No critiques, no requests, just pure enthusiasm, whatever it was. I could serve him a burnt Pop-Tart, and he'd think it was a 5-course tasting menu. He'd love it. One time after surgery, he was still pretty high from anesthesia, and he was grinning from ear to ear. We were taking him home. We got back to the beach house, and he announced that he was starving. So I made him this big plate of cheesy eggs that he just loved, and there's a picture on the video in there of his smile. That you've never seen a smile like this on his face as he's eating those cheesy eggs under anesthesia. He had an appetite. He ate well. Of course, after a little while, we were home, he ate. He couldn't sit still. Most people are in bed. Not Mike. He was up cleaning. The man could not clean. Mike, we're paying $300 for cleaning. It's Airbnb. We're paying for cleaning. He'd get up, he had to clean. He left that place cleaner than when we got there. If he ever stayed at your house, you didn't just get a visitor, you got a full service home makeover. As you know, every day was the best day of Mike's life, and he meant it. He'd wake up like a kid on Christmas morning, ready to make the world a little better, one joke, one prayer, one act of kindness at a time. If you were around Mike, you knew it. If you were loved by Mike, you felt it. And if you were Michelle and Christy, well, you were his whole heart. You know, when I think about Mike, I think about a man who noticed, who paid attention, who showed up. At Judy's memorial in Florida, our driveway was packed with cars after it, and I didn't want to bother anyone when I drove home. So I tried to squeeze my Tesla into the garage, and it didn't quite work out. I ended up scraping the side. It wasn't terrible, but I figured I'd get to it eventually. So 2 days later, Mike shows up to ask me about it. What's the plan for the scratch? I said I hadn't figured it out yet. 3 days later, he shows up at the house with special Tesla paint, a special tool, ready to fix it himself because it bothered him. That's who he was. He saw things, little things. He cared. He took responsibility for things that weren't even his. Not because anyone asked him to, but because that's what love looks like in motion. And that was Mike. Always showing up, always doing. The week he passed, he was at our house overseeing a closet install. Michelle has the same affection for shopping that Judy did. And we needed to make some more space, so we were having the closet redone. So Mike, of course, stepped in to help. But he didn't just supervise. He re-cleaned the areas that were already cleaned, and he sent us photos of the dirty towels to make sure it was done right. Then he fired up the pressure washer, cleaned the deck, knocked off the pine needles off the top of the cage, and later that night he called me outside. He said, "Rob, we got a problem here." He pointed up to the top of the screen enclosure. He said, "See that?" I said, "No, Mike, I don't see it." He said, "Look again." Sure enough, I see this tiny little slit. I don't even think the manufacturer would notice this slit, but Mike did. He said to me, "We got to do something about that." I said, You're right, Mike, we do. Because that's how he loved, fully, attentively, actively. He noticed things the rest of us miss. Not just the flaws in the screen or the scratch on the car, but the cracks in our hearts, the burdens we carry, the quiet things that need fixing. And he showed up every time. And now he's just doing it from above, still cheering, still grinning, still bragging. Heaven just got a whole lot brighter and probably a little more organized and definitely a lot cleaner. I picture him now reunited with Judy. He's grinning ear to ear and he's dancing. If you knew Mike, Brick House by the Commodores. I actually found a video on his phone of him dancing to it. Just living, laughing, letting loose. And in Florida, I wanted to put that song on the playlist, but Michelle, because it was at a church, Michelle didn't think it was an appropriate church song. So I looked up the lyrics to be sure, and this is Mike. "Oh, she's a brick house. She's mighty, mighty, just letting it all hang out. That lady's stacked, and that's a fact." And yep, there he was. That would be Mike, getting down without a care in the world. He lived by dance like no one's watching. But the truth is, Mike didn't care if you were watching. He was going to dance anyway. Marrying into this family was the greatest blessing of my life. And losing Judy and now Mike is losing two of the most extraordinary humans I've ever known. Not a day goes by that I don't think of him, that I don't ache to share something with him or to wish he could walk through the door just one more time. Mike was a car guy, a real gearhead. Back in the day, there were the stories of him and Clay putting seal coat on the driveway and spinning the tires so it makes a lot of smoke. Pure joy, motion, smiles until you had to put the next coat of seal coat on top. His best friend Mark was part of that joy too later in life, and when Mark passed, Mike ended up with Mark's 2006 Corvette. That car became a link to Mark's spirit. Mike didn't just drive it, he honored it, he protected it, he loved it. He loved it like it was Mark himself still riding shotgun. On special occasions, Mike would bring it over to the house. You'd hear that deep rumble coming up the street and just know Mike's here. And in a way, so was Mark. And last month, I had to drive the Corvette myself back to our house. I'm not exactly an expert with a stick shift, but this time it felt different. Driving down 75, it's about a 15-mile drive. I felt like Mike was with me, not just in memory, but with me. And he's got one of those 6-disc CD players in it, and he's got his 6 pre-mixed CDs loaded in there. And just as I got onto 75, this thing has like a 1,000-watt stereo system in it. Time for Me to Fly by REO Speedwagon started playing. And the lyrics hit me in a whole new way. Oh, I've got to set myself free. That's just how it's got to be. In that moment, it wasn't just a song anymore. It felt like a message, like a release, like letting go, like Mike was right there beside me, reminding me it's okay to move forward, that it's time. Tears streaming down my face. He was my co-pilot. He was calm, joyful, free, letting me know everything was okay. But in that moment, something wild happened. I pushed the pedal down hard and I got the car up to 100 miles an hour. Now, I know it's not legal and it's not me. I'm a slowpoke. Michelle is always on my case about how slow I drive, but I got the car up to 100 miles an hour. But I'd never done that But Mike was my co-pilot. It just felt free and special. So I know while he's up there, he's still with me all the time, telling stories, cracking jokes, and yes, he's still bragging about us, because that's what he did. That's who he was. He was love in motion. Mike didn't wait for someday. There was no someday for Mike. For Mike, today was always the day. Mike Shargott didn't just live life, he loved it. Every second. And we're all better because he loved us. So now we carry him with us in how we love, in how we serve, in how we notice people, in how we make people feel seen. We continue his legacy not by mourning the man he was, but by living the way that he taught us. With kindness, with laughter, with courage, with faith. We lived in 2 neighborhoods in Florida, in Bonita and in Naples, and Mike knew more people in both of those neighborhoods than we ever did. He was the mayor of them, our neighborhoods he was the mayor of. We have a dog named Boo Boo. You probably have seen her. She's pretty special in the family, and Mike took care of her a lot. And Michelle dresses Boo Boo the same way she dresses herself. She's usually in some type of designer harness with leopard print and rhinestones. And Mike loved to take Boo Boo for a walk in our neighborhood. Just like this, with his sleeveless shirt and his tan, with this rhinestone-covered 7-pound Morkie. He never passed up an opportunity to talk to someone. He was never not in the mood to make friends. Our neighbor Tom, he can be kind of grumpy, but Mike used to beat him up on the pickleball court. Tom said to us, Mike was his best friend and he doesn't even live in our neighborhood. Mike's not gone, he's just in a different seat now, and knowing him, it's front row. He has his neon yellow sleeveless shirt on, his deep tan, his Asics, and cheering us on, whispering to us in our toughest moments. You've got this, keep going. Today is the best day of your life. You know, something happened yesterday or last night. If you stayed in the hotel, you probably were up late because of it. There was, just 14 hours ago, there was this, right here in the same courtyard where you're sitting, there was a wedding. It was a beautiful wedding. Music was playing, people were dancing. They were doing the electric slide 12 hours ago, right here. Celebrating love and the beginning of a new life together. And now we're here gathered in the same spot for something that looks like the opposite, saying goodbye to a man we love. But I actually don't think they're opposites at all. I think they're deeply connected, weddings and memorials. They both remind us what matters most. Love, family, faith, showing up, making memories. Mike lived his life the way people vow to live on their wedding day, fully, lovingly, and committed to those he cared for. So as strange as it might seem to be here in the same place where just hours ago people were celebrating a beginning, I actually think Mike would have loved that. He believed every day was a blessing. That life is to be lived, that joy and sorrow can coexist, and both are sacred. And maybe that's the gift today gives us, a reminder that while we grieve, we also celebrate. We honor Mike, not just with tears, but with laughter, stories, hugs, and love, because he would have wanted both. I appreciate all of you being here today. This town is a very special community of people, and I know your presence means the world to Christy and to Michelle. The love in this space is truly a reflection of the love you had for Mike and the love he gave so freely to all of us. And make sure before you leave today, Michelle has a little memento she wants to share. We had them flown up here from Florida. There's a bowl of Jesus in there. So make sure you take one of those with you. Actually take 2, give one to someone you love. That's exactly what Mike would have done. And lastly, there is a ton of food to be eaten, so please stay, eat, and connect. And Mike would be seriously upset if that food doesn't get eaten because it's paid for. Thank you again from the bottom of our hearts for being here. God bless you all. Thank you.